Are you going through, or have you been through, a dark season? Is that a recurring theme in your life where you're up sometimes, down some other times? I'm not just talking about something like a bipolar disorder. I'm not talking about a mental condition. I'm talking about just what it's like to have to confront life. I'm talking about what it's like to try and do something great with your life. When we grow up, when we're younger, man, we believe big things. When I grow up, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that. Then you get a little older and you realize that life is not so friendly, that life is actually going to resist you. It's not going to hand you a free ticket of entry into everything you've ever dreamed, into every goal you've ever wanted. There's resistance in life. And then you find out that people are not necessarily on your side either. It could be family members, it could be friends, it could be coworkers, people you've worked with in the past. They're not necessarily on your side either. There's resistance, therefore, on every front. But you still have this compulsion. You still have this thing in you that wants to do something more. You want a better life. You want some peace, some solace. You want seasons of happiness. Why can't it just be like that all the time? Dark seasons will hit. Depressive times will come. Melancholy will overwhelm you for days, weeks, months on end. Are you going through another dark season? Are you feeling neutralized in your life? Do you find yourself depressed? Depression. I launched Metal Motivation in 2009. And over all the years that I've done this, that is a comment that keeps recurring time and time again. And that is that whenever I tell people to metal up, whenever I tell people to get their stuff together in life, whenever I tell them to try harder, do this, do that, I'll often get the comment, "You don't know what I've been through." Or, "You can't tell that to people. I guess you've never suffered depression, CJ." No, I've suffered before. Believe me, I have suffered before. Not to the degree necessarily of somebody else. I don't know. I'm not going to compare myself to somebody else, but I know what it's like to feel debilitated. I know what that's like. Now, again, this is Metal Motivation, so I'm not talking necessarily to people that are in serious mental, emotional conditions like manic depression or bipolar disorders or all of these things. But again, that comment keeps coming up over the years, which I guess is a form of respect. It's a form of compliment. In other words, do you think that highly of some guy who calls himself the Metal Motivator, who happens to be on social media, that he's going to be able to deal with issues like manic depression or bipolar disorder or social anxiety? Are you going to credit me with that much ability? Now, granted, I think a lot of the stuff I teach would help you if you're in a lot of these situations. I think those things can be dealt with that don't necessarily require a whole lot of medication to deal with. But still, it's what people say. They feel like if I address the topic of depression or sadness or bad seasons and dark seasons in life, that somehow I'm asking people to do something they can't do. That somehow I don't sympathize with them. That somehow I just don't understand what they're going through. No, I understand what you're going through. I don't know what you specifically are going through, the reasons for what you're going through, but these are the principles of life. These are things that you can do to remedy your situation. These are things that you can do to offset the pain. In economics, we get the word depression. Depression is not a common term used many, many years ago. It's really a more modern term, and it's an economic term. Back in the day, when I say the day, ancient times, they might use a word like despair to describe depression. They didn't use depression. Depression is really more borrowed from economics. Depression, recession. What a depression means is when there is a slowdown, a great slowdown in economic activity. Recession, you're just receding a bit, right? That's a slowdown in economic activity. But when it gets really bad and permanent over a long period of time, that's a depression. And isn't that funny what going through a dark season is like? Isn't that what depression in your own life is like? Because your activity goes down, right? Your activity tanks, it sinks. You're not as productive as you once were. You're not working towards things as you were before. You're hidden away. You're buried underneath your bed sheets. You don't really want to talk to anybody. You don't want to see anybody. You don't want to do anything. You don't want to think about anything. The most you could probably do is watch some mindless television or movies. Our activity goes down. We are depressed. Our activity goes down while we're buried in despondency. Despondency. What is despondency? It's when your spirit is low because of a lack of courage, a loss of hope. When you start to lose hope, when you start to lose courage, that's when your spirit sinks into despondency. And this is going to make more sense here in just a couple minutes. It's powerful, powerful truth we're sharing today. And this is why, when I'm giving you the remedy before we get there, but we'll talk more about it. This is why during dark periods, it's when you have to do the most. And that's the struggle, because you don't want to do anything. You don't want to move. You're neutralized in life. But during a dark season is when you have to do the most, and I'll explain why, and I believe it's going to motivate you to at least make the effort. Because retracting and hiding and hibernating only makes things worse. And it guarantees you're going to keep living in this vicious cycle. Okay? So retracting, hiding, hibernating, it only makes things worse. And it's going to guarantee that this vicious cycle that you're in is going to continue. What's a vicious cycle? It's when you go from a dark period to a little bit of light, back to disappointments and resistance, leading to more dark periods. It's a vicious cycle. You're in a dark period now. Maybe you hear my voice and it encourages you. You watch something and it encourages you. Somebody lifts your spirit. You feel like, yeah, I'm going to give it a shot again. You try, you go for a while, a week or 2 weeks. Then you meet resistance again. You meet disappointments again. And suddenly you start to decline. That recession starts, and recession extended goes into depression, the slowdown of activity. You start to hide away. You are now in that dark season again. It's a vicious cycle, and it's vicious because it's devastating. It leads to a more devastating thing. What's the devastating thing? The destruction of your hope. That's the most devastating thing you can suffer, the destruction of your hope. And I hope you're listening to me right now, because this is so important. I have to put an exclamation point on this. I have to put a double red underline underneath this. You have to listen to what I'm saying. This vicious cycle, these dark seasons that you keep falling into, they lead to the destruction of your hope. And why is that so devastating? Because hope is the last form of belief that is based on something outside of yourself. I'll say that again. Hope is the last form of belief, but it's based on something outside of yourself. And if that goes, man, you have nothing else to rely on. Simple. You see, you can believe in yourself, right? That's a belief. If you believe in yourself. See, I don't hope that I'm going to do something, right? If I say to myself, hey, man, I'm going to go clean this room, or I'm going to go write this article, or I'm going to go to the gym, or I'm going to do this. I don't doubt myself. I believe in myself. If it's something that I'm used to doing, if it's something that I've always done, it's not a big deal to say, I'm going to do it. So there's no hope involved in something that I'm sure I can do. There's no hope involved when it's something sure that you can do. Hope comes in when you've run out of being sure of you. Hope begins when you run out of believing in yourself. Hope, therefore, as I said, is the last form of belief that you have. Once you exhaust, if you don't believe that somebody else can help you, if you don't believe that you can help yourself, all you've got left is hope. That's it. And if that goes, if that's destroyed, you are sunk. You don't hope in yourself and what you can do. You believe in yourself and what you can do. You hope that something outside of yourself will one day improve things. You hope it will get better. You hope the economy will change. You hope things will change culturally, politically, or what have you. You're hoping that circumstances come together and create what can only be created by your own effort. Hope, therefore, is something beyond yourself. It's just saying, I don't believe in me, man, so I have to hope something outside of me changes. There's an old proverb that says, "The spirit of a man will sustain his infirmity, but a wounded spirit who can bear?" The spirit of a man will sustain his infirmity, but a wounded spirit who can bear? In other words, if you can't rely upon what's within you, you'll place hope outside of yourself. But if you no longer believe anything will ever change outside of you, then what? That's the destruction of hope. If your spirit can sustain you and life never stops beating you, if your spirit can't sustain you and life never stops beating you, that's when hope dies. So as I said, the spirit of a man will sustain his infirmity, your weakness, your trial, your sickness, your setback. Your spirit can sustain you during a time of a dark season. But if the spirit itself is wounded, who's going to carry that? Right? Your spirit can carry you. If you got a strong spirit, it can carry you through dark times. But if the spirit itself is wounded, then who is going to carry your spirit? That's what he's saying. If you can't rely upon what's within you, then all you've got to do is hope on what's going on outside of you. That's your last form of belief. But if your spirit can't sustain you, man, but then life never stops beating on you, the circumstances and the resistance, and people still keep coming at you, hope will eventually die. And that's when you're screwed. That's why during your dark and difficult seasons, you have to do the most, because you've got to fight for that spirit within you. You got to fight for your spirit. Keep yourself strong within. Doesn't mean you're going to be freaking super excited and enthusiastic during a dark season. No, you're going to have to fight and struggle through this. Oftentimes, it's like climbing up a steep, muddy slope. It's not easy, but you'll do so much better when your spirit is strong. That's when you have to train, and when it's a dark season. That's when you have to eat right. That's when you have to turn off the TV. That's when you have to read something empowering. It's when you have to do chores. It's when you have to be productive. When the winds are howling and the ghosts are screaming. When there's nothing but torment, when there's nothing but resistance and you just want to hide away, that's when you have to move. That's when you have to be productive. Why? Because being productive creates a stronger confidence in you. That's why. Being productive will create a stronger confidence in you. But CJ, it's too hard to do anything when you're in a dark season. It's too difficult. Not if you start slow. I'm not asking you to climb Mount Everest. Just start slow. Start to move. Something easy. Once you feel that dark season hitting, don't give it time to get darker. As soon as you start to see those clouds, as soon as you start to see the lights begin to dim, you move your ass. Start out, go take a walk, get outside, take a 30-minute walk. Take yourself a 30-minute walk, listen to something inspirational, listen to some heavy metal, get you an audiobook going, something. And as you walk, man, you're allowing the audio, the things that you're listening to, the things that you're looking at, the beauty of the landscape, the beautiful sky, the sun, the clouds, all of it, nature itself. You realize that there's a permanency to life, that the sun rises. You never have to worry if it's not going to rise tomorrow. Those clouds are going to be there. That breeze is going to be there. Those birds will always be there. Everything is always going to be there. You're grounded in absolutes. You're grounded in things that are unshakable. Your mind is stuck on social media and circumstances. That shit moves around all the time. That shit shakes up like an earthquake all the time. But if you're plugged into those things that are always in flux, that are always changing, yeah, man, you're going to be unstable in life. But when you go outside and you look at things and you see that there's permanency, there's absolutes, there's unshakable, unmovable things in nature, you will become more unmovable. And as you're listening to things that inspire, those are the things that are based on unshakable, unmovable principles. You're reinforcing yourself. So take that 30-minute walk. As soon as things begin to go dark, take that 30-minute walk. Maybe at the end of it, jog for the last 2 minutes. Get to the end of it, get to your house or apartment, and high-five yourself. High five yourself. Celebrate the victory. Celebrate what you just did. You are going to war on your depression. You are going to war on your dark season. You're bringing, it may just be a match, but you're bringing a match into a dark room, and that dark room will light up even with the small flame of a match. Bring it in. You're warring for your own life. You're warring because you are valuable. And this creates, once you do this, something as simple as taking a walk, this creates an opportunity for something very powerful, and that is momentum. I love momentum. What is momentum? Momentum is a force of energy that's gained by a moving object, right? You start, if a car start, I remember when I was a kid, early 70s, we were living in an apartment, and my dad's car was parked just outside of our apartment, and there was a small hill that the car was parked on. And he left us in the car just to hang out, and I got behind the steering wheel, and I grabbed the shifter, and I put the car in neutral. I must have been 4 or 5, something like that. And my dad came running out to open the door, get in that car, and stop it. That car would have gone down, it would have picked up momentum, and I would have smashed right into a tree. Once that thing starts moving, a force of energy is gained. That is momentum. When you start to make movements, even as simple as taking a walk, going to the gym, making your bed, cleaning a room, cleaning the kitchen, once you start creating momentum, it creates a force of energy that makes it easier to move to the next thing, which makes you feel even more powerful, even more reinforced. So after that 30-minute walk, clean or organize something. You already just got home, go in and just empty the dishwasher, man. Wipe the countertop down. Clean a desk. I don't care what it is. Take your dog out. Doesn't matter. It'll be easier to do after you had some movement, after you took that walk, after you did something. It's easier to do the next thing because you're in motion. You have momentum. Then if you can, do something else. Keep it small, easy to achieve. And then again, high five yourself. You'll be so proud of yourself, man. This will add to your self-confidence because you're going to know you didn't let the darkness overwhelm you. It doesn't mean the fight is over. There's always day 2 of this bullshit. There's always day 2. You're going to have to get up and you're going to have to fight again. But that's what I'm here for. To speak to your spirit. To speak to the part of you that doesn't give up. There's a part of you that's not given up yet. Again, hope has not been destroyed. So long as there's still some reliance upon yourself, as long as there's still some ember, some little coals burning underneath, then that's what I'm speaking to. That's what we're going to ignite. So every little step you take, every little movement, right? Every little thing you do that creates momentum, you high five yourself, you celebrate the little victories, man. You are starting to blow on those coals of fire. You are starting to throw the kindling back on that again. And pretty soon we're going to have a blaze, and the dark season won't be so long anymore. And you're going to know you did not let the darkness overwhelm you. This is going to strengthen you. You might still be thinking or want to say, I don't know, CJ. It just seems too difficult. Not if you do something important, and that is get pissed off. Getting angry that life is treating you this way, because anger is a form of fuel, and that's going to get your car moving again. If you get pissed off, righteously pissed off in a healthy way, you're going to start to move because it's going to be fuel for you. If we didn't have the basic emotion of anger, there are terrible things we would tolerate in the world. Imagine if you never got angry and something happened to a family member. Somebody hurt one of your family members or did something. What if you were never angry? You would never take action. There is a righteous form of anger that causes us to take action, right? So you got to get pissed off. You got to get angry. Anger is a form of fuel. And how do you do that? Well, you just got to keep thinking about the value of your own life. You got to think about what's at stake. Every time you go into a dark season, you are agreeing with the evil in the world. You are agreeing with life's resistance. that you're not worth the effort. Again, so if you can't do this, if you can't, then you know where your problem lies. The problem is this. You don't believe you're worth the effort. When you tell me, I don't know, CJ, it just seems too difficult. What you're telling me is you don't believe you're worth the effort. Because I could step in at that time when you're saying, I can't do it. I could put a gun to your head and get you to do everything necessary to get this done. Right? So there's still enough value of your own life that you'll get up and take steps. The issue is you don't believe you're worth the effort. So ask yourself, why am I not worth the effort? Where did I get this idea that I am not valuable? Why do you believe that your life is not worth the effort? Well, how do you mean I don't believe my life is worth the effort? Because during a dark season, you're hiding. Because during a dark season, you're in bed. Because during a dark season, your activity goes down. So you're not obviously worth the effort. See, something valuable is something that's useful or important, and that's you. Now, you might be thinking, well, if I'm valuable, CJ, if that's true, then why didn't people treat me as valuable? Why do they mistreat me? If I'm so valuable, if I'm so precious, then why did people treat me the way that they do? I'll tell you why. Because it had nothing to do with you. Stop. The reason why people treated you as not valuable is because it had nothing to do with you. Say what? It had nothing to do with you. You were mistreated, you were abused for nothing that had to do with you. Those who mistreat, those who abuse, do it for their own reasons, whatever those reasons might be. And your only fault, if you can call it that, is that you were within reach. That's it. Those who mistreat and abuse do it because of something in them. It has nothing to do with you or your value. The only fault, again, is that you were within arm's reach, so you were somebody that they could abuse. All to say, it's got nothing to do with you, so you can't use how people treated you as a way to determine or measure your own value. Well, how do I know this? Well, it's because it's usually the sweetest, most innocent people that suffer at the hands of abusers and bullies, right? Isn't it the most innocent, the most quiet, the nicest people that tend to get abused, tend to get mistreated, tend to get walked on? Yeah. So that's how you know. It's got nothing to do with those people. The issue is not so much whether others see value in you, but can you see it in yourself? Therein lies the rub. I don't see value in myself. How am I ever going to see value in myself? Well, just ask yourself this question. What do I value in others? Right? What qualities do I admire in other people? What are the things I value in other humans and their behavior? Whatever those are, you have similar qualities in yourself, don't you? So you should value yourself more. The issue, again, is not those who mistreated you, right? We know they don't value anything. They value nothing, not just you, nothing. It's all about them. So your value isn't determined by their mistreatment. The value is, what do you admire in other people? What do you value in other people? Do you see some of those qualities or similar qualities in yourself? And you say, yeah, man, I'm nice. I want to help people. I've never tried to hurt anything. People have done it to me, but I've never done it to them. Well, there you go. These are qualities that you admire. These are qualities that you value. You possess them. Let that be your measuring stick, not how other people treated you, nor the resistance of life. The resistance of life to you trying to do something or make progress in your life does not mean that life hates you. It just means that's life. That's just the way that it is. We add the storyline that life always treats me this way. I'm destined to fail, etc., etc. So do you have something to give? If you do, you're valuable, which means you have something to give in your corner of the world, and the best way forward is for you to maximize all that you are, all that you can do for a purpose greater than yourself. All right? Maximize all that you are, all that you can do, and do it for a purpose greater than yourself. That, my friend, is the secret to being fulfilled in life. Fulfilled means you are satisfied. This is better than happiness. You are satisfied. But again, I understand one of the hardest things to do during a dark season is move. One of the hardest things to do during a dark season is move. The temptation is to stay in bed. The temptation is to remain locked away. Wait until the clouds disappear. But that is such a colossal waste of your time. Your life is worth the effort. That's why as soon as the clouds start to appear, you've got to start moving. You've got to start giving yourself good news by taking action and not giving in, not lying down, putting on your boxing gloves and getting into the ring and give life a little taste of what life has given you. Just pretend you're an emotionless machine and just start moving your body. Trust me, it's not going to be long before you feel the energy and you start to build some momentum. Be productive. It's the best way for you to crowd out the evil. Can you dig that? I hope you can. Listen, I'd love to stay in contact with you. I want you to get on my Metal Motivation mailing list. I send out personal emails, motivational messages that I guarantee you that are going to empower you to take these things even deeper. Let's connect offline. Social media is not a reliable place for us to connect, and I want to work more closely with you. So a link is in the description below, and plus you can get my free ebook when you sign up on my email list today, my Metal Motivation ebook. You'll love that. So do it today and get daily screams for living aggressively. The link is in the description below. And a great way for you to support Metal Motivation is by getting killer t-shirts, apparel for motivated people who love heavy metal. Just go to metalmotivationstore.com or metalmotivation.com. Either one will take you there. There's a lot of very, very killer shirts there, both for men and women and hats and other things. So check that out, metalmotivationstore.com. It's a great way for you to support this metal mission. This is CJ, the Metal Motivator. And remember, in whatever you do, don't suck metal up.